Welcome back to Coffee Chat by Yee's Law Journal. I'm Josh.
And I'm Alice. Today we're going to talk about a particularly intricate case that's making headlines. China's State Administration for Market Regulation, SAMR, recently opened an antitrust investigation into the US chip giant, NVIDIA. The situation throws up some fascinating legal challenges, ranging from China's conditional approval requirements on the NVIDIA Mellanox merger to the growing pressure from US export controls.
That's right, Alice. The trigger here was a December 9th announcement from SAMR. In this announcement, SAMR indicated it's investigating NVIDIA for alleged violations of China's anti-monopoly law and the conditions imposed in the 2020 approval of NVIDIA's acquisition of Mellanox. The announcement sent shockwaves through the market and even caused NVIDIA stock to dip shortly afterward.
At this point, we don't have a detailed list of what alleged violations SAMR is focusing on. However, analysts are speculating that NVIDIA may have failed to adhere to commitments it made at the time of the Mellanox deal. Specifically, it promised to continue supplying GPUs and related products to the Chinese market on fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory terms.
So, what's changed since the Mellanox acquisition? Well, the global regulatory landscape has shifted dramatically, especially with the United States imposing stricter export controls on advanced chips destined for China. Since 2022, the U.S. has introduced a series of measures restricting the export of high-performance GPUs, a key NVIDIA product line, to Chinese customers.
Exactly. This puts NVIDIA in a real bind. On one side, it must comply with US regulations that limit its ability to sell certain advanced chips to Chinese clients. On the other, it has a legal commitment made to the Chinese regulator to maintain a stable supply of those very products. If it stops supplying these chips to China to comply with US rules, it risks running afoul of Chinese antitrust conditions. This is the quintessential rock and a hard place scenario.
This type of cross-jurisdictional tension isn't unique to this case. Many countries enforce their competition laws extraterritorially. If a company's behavior abroad affects a domestic market's competition, that country's regulator can claim jurisdiction. When you combine that with U.S. export controls and economic sanctions, you get a serious clash of legal frameworks.
For more insights on this, there's an informative article on Lexology titled The Extraterritorial Application of Chinese Anti-Monopoly Law. It sheds light on how China's anti-monopoly rules can reach beyond its borders, similar to US or EU competition enforcement. Reading it could give our listeners a better grasp of these overlapping legal regimes.
Let's talk about how NVIDIA might respond. One approach is to argue they're acting under legal duress complying with U.S. laws rather than intentionally refusing Chinese markets. They might appeal to principles like international comity, hoping that Chinese regulators take into account the conflicting legal obligations imposed by U.S. rules. Another route might be negotiating some form of leniency or amendment to the original conditions.
It's not guaranteed that these arguments will carry the day. Critics say NVIDIA might face the tough choice of picking sides, potentially incurring huge fines, losing access to a major market, or even facing forced divestitures. The outcome could reshape NVIDIA's global strategy.
And it's not just foreign companies caught in this legal crossfire. Consider a Chinese firm under investigation in the U.S. or the EU. In recent years, Chinese law has evolved to give domestic companies a potential countermeasure. For instance, if a Chinese company faces legal pressure in Europe or America, it might invoke Chinese law or governmental support to push back effectively, using these Chinese legal tools as a strategic counterweight. This could involve referencing China's legal frameworks designed to counteract foreign sanctions or extraterritorial legal pressures. It adds another layer of complexity to international business negotiations.
Precisely. We're seeing a world where companies need to manage compliance across multiple jurisdictions, each with its own agenda and legal strictures. NVIDIA's case highlights how geopolitics, antitrust rules, and export controls can collide, leaving businesses scrambling to reconcile conflicting demands.
Let's zoom out. NVIDIA's critical role in the AI supply chain, providing essential GPUs for data centers and advanced computing, means their products are pivotal not just for consumer electronics, but also for cutting-edge AI applications. This importance draws regulatory attention from the US, EU, China, and elsewhere. As AI becomes central to economic and security interests, competition authorities are stepping up scrutiny.
Looking ahead, if Chinese regulators impose further conditions or tougher penalties on NVIDIA, it wouldn't be shocking. Likewise, NVIDIA might intensify its compliance efforts or try to negotiate new conditions that reflect the evolving US-China tech landscape. We're likely to witness more of these complex standoffs as the global tech ecosystem becomes increasingly fragmented by strategic interests.
The NVIDIA story is a snapshot of the complexities facing multinational corporations. Balancing compliance with multiple and sometimes contradictory legal systems is no small feat. As US and EU listeners, it's a reminder that similar issues can arise on our side of the Atlantic, especially when foreign laws and domestic policies clash.
Indeed, today's conversation should encourage us to think about the broader implications. How do we navigate a world where trade, technology, and regulation overlap in complicated ways? The NVIDIA case offers a valuable lesson for policymakers, lawyers, and business leaders trying to manage these intricate global currents.
That's all for this episode of Coffee Chat by Yee's Law Journal. Thanks for joining us today. If you have thoughts or questions, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep sipping that coffee.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.